So, after weeks of protests, upset and Arsenal Fan TV meltdowns, Arsene Wenger came out after defeat to West Brom and said his decision over his future is made and he's going to announce it soon. And then John Cross of the Mirror and a whole lot of others said, yeah, he's made his decision. He's going to stay. James, you've been on the ground on this actually quite a lot.
I've been on the front line.
Yeah, you've been in the trenches with the guys from Arsenal Fan TV and the Arsenal fans. I put a tweet out the other day, heads are going to pop. Genuinely, heads are going to explode. If Arsene Wenger comes out and 100% announces that he's staying, I've heard the likes of Dupes and DT say, look, if he says he's staying, then that's a thing. But it's gonna go off. It's got to go off.
Yeah, it's gonna go so off, Paul. It's gonna be ridiculous. I mean, it's so backward, the whole thing. Like, generally, as football fans, when you look at other teams and you look at their fans and they're getting angry at the manager, then the manager goes. And this has been going on for obviously years and years and years, but he's done okay. You all know the backstory of fucking Arsene Wenger. But you're certain he was going now,
in this instance, he's gone, okay, well, I've heard your complaints. Yeah. You seem to be standing against me. I think the best thing for you is for me to stay a little bit longer and prove you all wrong. Is everyone cool with that?
Can I ask a question? If Arsenal Fan TV didn't exist, would Arsene Wenger be under as much pressure? Genuinely?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer. Because you're right, I don't pay any attention to Arsenal fans or anything. It's more, the opinion's more prevalent because I've got easier access to it. No, I could see that point. But I think those protests happen regardless.
Yeah. No, I mean, if it hadn't been on Arsenal Fan TV, because we've done protests and the media don't want to sort of acknowledge they exist because they're too friendly with the hierarchy of the clubs.
Was that protest, but the coverage of that protest, I'm not sure. I mean, like, Borsu did it, and once again, James did a phenomenal job. Not to sit here and wank you off, mate.
Did Sky?
But no, you did.
No, he did.
You did. It was
Sky Sports News did, yeah.
Whatever. But the thing is, like, that did a great job on that. But that didn't. I don't think that coverage was
exactly. And they downplay it and they go, oh, there's only 150 maybe Arsenal fans were here today because they underplay it, and I'm not saying Arsenal fans are Arsenal Fan TV or Arsenal fans are wrong. No way at all. But it's just interesting how we look at things now because obviously we've got it. And I just wonder whether he would be under as much pressure if Robbie wasn't doing the job he was doing. And I mean, let's be honest, it's boss for Robbie. Even his kids are going for 3 weeks in Florida. I mean, it's good sounds, you know what I mean? He's going full in, isn't he?
I don't know. It's still like
he's got so many Mickey Mouse dollars or whatever it is.
They still have the coverage because he hasn't won games. He's still get tanked by Bayern Munich. They get beat at the weekend convincingly beat by West Brom at the weekend. He's still going to attract the coverage and a bad reputation.
It's not. I don't think the pressures. I don't think it necessarily increases the pressure. It maybe does. What I mean is not noticeably so. It just makes fans of other clubs more aware of it being a thing. Yeah. But I don't think that's a contributing factor one way or the other to whether Wenger comes or goes because they've been holding banners up and shite up in grounds for 2 years now.
Hang on. Wenger doesn't see things that happen on the pitch, so he's saying you're not going to see things that happen off it.
But this is the point. I think the protests happen anyway. They'll have to take note of them one way or the other. Maybe it's helping it go into a wider circle.
To spin it on its head, for any other manager, would it be going on this long?
I don't think it would happen for any
other manager. That manager will be out the door.
It's mental that the decision is being left
by him.
Arsene Wenger.
Yeah. It's crazy. In any other club, in any other circumstance.
I've decided on my future.
Yeah, exactly.
Mate.
Well, no, you don't get to decide that.
But I guess the board have decided, haven't they? They've said, look, it's 2 years.
No, they've decided.
The board have decided. They said.
I'm not saying the board are culpable, but the fact that the board are culpable because they've left the decision to him.
If I was an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't be protesting for Wenger to go. I'd be protesting for David Dean to come back, because him leaving the club is where it all went tits up. Genuinely where they're all. He was the link between the board and Wenger, and he got Wenger in the first place. He was the man. He got fucking us, our new owner. I loved it. There was talk he could come to us do a similar job, and I would love that. And I think since he's gone, there's been no go between the people who run the club are so busy infighting amongst each other. They're not looking at what's going on. Yeah. No one genuinely cares. It's a cash cow to whoever wins. And I think they need an in-between.
I think it's just a tricky situation, isn't it? Because I keep saying this, the grass is always greener, isn't it? And I think when you hear a lot of Arsenal fans... Yeah, there's a lot of Arsenal fans who are like, I've heard them say, we know people are going, oh, well, look, whatever, forget top 4 this season because it's more important to get the club sorted out. It's like, lads, don't be giving up that slot because I'm telling you now, once you're out that door, it's very difficult to get back into it. But this is the thing, and I think there's a very weird mentality going on at that club. But it's one of those things. But a decision needs to be made one way or the other.
Let's say for talk's sake, he takes another year on. What happens next year? What happens if he finishes second next year? And then they go, actually, well, now we don't care. We don't care out the door.
Robbie left the fans to about football matches, won't he?
I don't know. I think it's a bit of a farce. It's been dragging on too long. If he's made a decision, come out and say what your decision is.
Absolutely. It's so indulgent.
That's
so indulgent to go,
ridiculous.
Yes, I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing.
Did you see Match the Day and he went, oh, looking at that, I think he's going, he smirked. I'm sorry, but he's not. There's no way he's smiling if he's not happy to saying I'm leaving Arsenal. You know what I mean? Like he does a little smirk. I thought this prick signed a new contract. I signed a new contract.
I seen him, and the first thing I spoke to in my mind was the fella who sells Springfield, the monorail.
That's so true. But imagine if you're an Arsenal fan and there's that kind of lack of communication that he's going to... Yeah, for him to go, like, you've got Match the Day pundits reading it one way, you've got... It's depending on what way you feel at that moment in time when you hear him go, I know what I'm doing, but I'm not letting you know yet. It's just like,
why is there the decency to go, let me know in the comments below, or here's a Twitter poll to decide what you think? What an arsehole, he's so out of touch with modern
football. This goes back to, what's it got to do with fucking him? The people above should be going, no, hang on, mate, we'll tell you what you're doing.
Yeah.
Not, here's a blank contract.
No. But they have said that. They said, look, here's 2 years if you want it. He's older than most managers, so he's going, do I want to do it?
In those situations, they should be going, yeah, we'll just take that a second. How are you doing anyway?
Yeah. No, that wasn't a contract. That was the sandwich list.
Did you sign?
The meeting's off.
We'll put that safe somewhere. No. It's genuinely mental that it's being left to this. I do feel sorry for Arsenal fans because. You need clarity at your football club in this regard, and like I say, I agree that this would provide a degree of clarity, but you'd also reach a point in a fan base, and this is where Arsenal are being stupid in my opinion.
Fan base.
No, but we had it with Rafa Benitez. Rafa Benitez reached the point where there was the staunch supporters and the people who just staunch, and it was like brainwashing. I remember sitting in a pub with this guy I'd never met before. We started chatting about footy, as you do in the boozer, and we had like 3 hours of me saying, "Here's the good points."
I didn't know the ad grinder then, by the way.
Well before the day. But you'd have, literally, it was like banging your head against the brick wall, because I was never changing my opinion, and he was never changing his, and that was what our fan base became so fractured over that no amount of more Benitez was going to solve that. It just needed to be a different manager. Unfortunately, we went and replaced him with Roy Hodgson, which did unify the fan base, unfortunately, but in the worst possible way.
But that's the reason why the board's the board. It's their decision, and they've got to make a decision and stick to it. And they can't let the
I don't think this is throwing a baby out with the bathwater kind of situation. It's been Arsene Wenger at this point, because if they sign him up to a new contract, they're only ever going to be one defeat away from absolute pandemonium, because that's where they've been for 3 years. We said this before, first game of every season, they lose. Yeah. The board's not spend the money, board. Wow, Wenger out, what are you doing? It's exhausting from the outside. I can't even begin to imagine.
We don't title this video Wexit, and there's something very wrong.
Well, this is what we need to remember.
That's when you said about fans just screaming at each other, one saying their opinion and never. That's it. Just take the Wexit, and we've got it boxed off.
It's crazy, though. So just to clarify, everyone's in agreement that
he has to go.
That he a 1 year. He shouldn't
get
a contract.
I'm not. To be fair, I mean, it's got nothing to do with me. I mean, his track record recently has been abysmal. But I think it's a bigger problem. I've said this before. They bring another guy in. Does the same thing happen with the next guy?
Here's the only situation where I can see it's a reasonable decision to make, because look, there's nothing wrong with a bit of continuity. And I know they've got buckets of continuity, haven't they? Loads and loads of it. But what Arsenal did, and they did.
Put their continuity in a continuity bank.
Well, exactly. But they broke the mould with Wenger, didn't they? Where they said, with the next guy's coming in, we can't get Wenger till this point now. So they announced him in time. That world's changed now. I know you had the Pep Guardiola stuff, but I can't see Arsenal doing that again. But if they've gone to Diego Simeone and they've gone to Thomas Tuchel and they've gone, I'm quite happy where I am for another year, and they've gone, well, we could go and get someone we don't really want. We're going to get a third or fourth choice manager. That's not Arsenal.
You're still going to miss out on them next year, then. Yeah.
And maybe Wenger said, look, Arsene, give us one more year, and we'll have our first choice. That's the one set of circumstances. But what of a year that's going to be.
The thing is, that might all be true, but I get the feeling it's probably Wenger going to get the next manager as well, though. Not someone at the club. I don't even know. Like, I mean, I know it's stupid. You shouldn't know people, but at least. You know your club, I know my club, and I know for other clubs who their chief executive is. I've got a fucking clue about Arsenal. I don't know who's pulling the strings. Yeah. And I think that's as big a job now as anything in football. The person has got to be savvy, he's got to know what to do. And look at someone like Bayern Munich. They promote their ex-players who've got a bit of nous to that general manager role. Arsenal just seems to be lost at that role, and I think that's a huge thing now in football.
Is that not down to Wenger though? Because Wenger's always had control over the whole club.
He'll probably bring his next manager in like fucking Willy Wonka and go, I'm leaving it all to you, Thomas.
I got the golden ticket. That would be amazing. Actually, Claude gets the golden ticket.
He's Grandpa Joe.
Yeah.
He'll be in bed for months, and then they'll tell him Wenger's left, and he'll go, oh, my legs work!
Can I just, just lastly on this, the thing about it, like, we don't know one way or the other for certain whether he's going to stay or whether he's going to go. It looks like he's likely to stay. But if people are shocked by this, when you really think about it, no one should be shocked if Wenger chooses to stay for another year, because he clearly is not going to, under his own power, choose to leave that football club. And if he's left with the power that he's been left with, and given Arsenal, given how everything's been drawn out over these years, it should genuinely come as no shock when it comes out next week and says, I'm staying for another year.
It's the speculation that's killing them.
Yeah.
Just make a decision, say it, tell people,
and
then they can move on with their lives.
This is where Eden Hazard and Ibrahimovic and all these were like, I'm going to announce my future. Just do it.
He's the ultimate Bond villain.
Tweet it. Phone someone up.
Make the ultimate Bond villain.
Send that. Maybe he's posted it to someone. Maybe he's posted the decision out.
Send a raven.
He only said it second class because
he
doesn't like to spend the money, so he sent it second class. And he's just waiting for it to drop on the doorstep of some major newspaper.
Send a raven or something. Just
send a smoke signal semaphore. Who knows? Anyway, let us know your thoughts. If you're an Arsenal fan, how will you react when inevitably Arsene Wenger signs a contract extension? Let us know.
None of them are watching anyway. They put it on and seen Robbie, wasn't he, and turned it off.
Yeah. No, they like to stay for the few. What are these pricks saying about our club? Let us know that in the comments below. Subscribe to Ball Street for more content. Still to come this week, we've discussed Lukaku potentially moving to Chelsea or not. And Gareth Southgate, very bold in his talk about how England needs to reevaluate itself. I mean, I'm not a fan of English football, but a very interesting discussion on the way, so stay tuned.